It can be fast, slow, or infinitely long. Almost imperceptible or incredibly destructive. Free or controlled. Falling, a process familiar to every person on our planet. Basically, people are followed by falling or the danger of falling throughout their life. But from a scientific point of view, falling is one of the least understood physical processes. Falling is just a familiar word. Actually, nothing falls. Things simply are drawn together. What is the difference between falling on Earth and falling in space? Can falling be safe? And why does it cause addiction? For me, falling is the beginning of adventures. How can you study the physics behind falling, and is it possible to earn money on it? The training center of the Russian Association of Stuntmen. Here, professionals work on the most dangerous kind of stunts, falls from height. And every practice starts with a warm-up. Basic principles are the same as in wrestling. Alexander here is doing it the classical way. The contact surface upon landing should be as large as possible. You cannot allow landing on feet because then your feet might actually go right through the airbag. The average height for a regular stunt performer is 10 meters, the third floor of the training tower. Only the most experienced can go higher. In this profession, the top of one's game is a real physical quantity. We are roughly 70 to 20 meters above the ground. The distance to the airbag is 15 meters to the cushion. The remaining 2 meters allow for landing. What is it about? I think what's important is to get over your fear. This death-defying act will be shown only at the end of our documentary. Let's just say for now that the top floor of the tower hasn't been conquered in any of the previous practices. A fall like this is an entire science. We have strong, weak, and electromagnetic interactions, but also gravitational interactions that are the least understood. I mean, nobody has figured out yet the nature of gravitational interaction, and it doesn't really fit into the standard model that describes our universe. I mean, there's some hypothetical gravitation that mediates the force of gravitation, but nobody has seen it in an experiment. It was simply predicted. It's just how it works in science. If there's some blank spot, we call it a phenomenon and make a name for it. The first one to get interested in the properties of falling objects was the Greek philosopher Aristotle. And one would think he came to a logical conclusion. The heavier the object, the faster it falls. But almost 2,000 years later, the father of modern physics, Galileo Galilei, proved him wrong. The legend goes the scientists kept throwing different objects from the top of the famous Tower of Pisa and recording the time of their fall. After that, he proclaimed that all objects of the same shape fall at the same rate. We decided to test Galileo's statement and conduct the same experiment with a high-speed camera filming the process. But first, the weigh-in. 15.6 kilograms. 7.6. An empty vase. 2 kilograms. And we are going to fill another vase with water. It's filled with water almost to the brim, and it weighs 7.7 kilograms. Instead of the Tower of Pisa, we have a 10-meter-high boom truck crane, and our scientific advisor, Mikhail Glushkov, took the place of Galileo. And here goes the first test object, a boulder weighing 15.5 kilograms. The result is 1.44 seconds. The next one to go is the juicy watermelon from Astrakhan region. It's 2 times lighter than the rock, but it also reaches the ground in 1.44 seconds. Now for the empty vase. It turned out to be a bit slower. But what would be the falling time of the vase filled with water? It's 4 times heavier than the empty one, but it still showed the same result of 1.56 seconds. So why were the watermelon and the rock faster? It all boils down to air resistance. When we were throwing things, we couldn't maintain perfectly identical trajectories. So a small tilt of the vase was enough for it to experience a stronger air resistance. Its contact area was bigger, and consequently the drag was different. It's because we have air we can lean upon that we can control the position of our body. Andrei Abramov has been into extreme sports for 15 years. He spent a combined total of 7 months in the state of falling. But he was always using air resistance to control his falling speed and body position. When a skydiver is falling smoothly, he doesn't experience any overloads, only a feeling of lying on the airflow. His speed in this classical position is about 200 kilometers per hour, which causes some funny effects. For example, it's recommended not to open your mouth because the wind would blow it full of air and you might have difficulties shutting it. By the way, a strong flow of air is helpful not only in slowing down, but also in getting you off the ground. Andrei Abramov experienced free fall more than once on windless days. In the first seconds of the jump, when the attraction of the Earth is just starting to accelerate the body of a skydiver, the air resistance is barely noticeable. The same phenomenon is used to train astronauts. A plane with a group of candidates gains a maximum height and takes a sharp nosedive. As long as the descent velocity of the aircraft corresponds to the free fall acceleration, its crew and passengers are in free fall, experiencing the so-called simulated weightlessness. The same effect is familiar to everyone who has taken a civil flight. For safety reasons, these planes descend much more steadily, but the passengers still feel as if their body is lifting a bit above the seat. A plane is basically falling with all the air inside of it. So the people experience this state of weightlessness because they are going down with all the air inside of the plane. But in reality, this air always hits you in the face. The same effect is experienced by astronauts aboard the International Space Station. Weightlessness there is also not real. The station is orbiting the Earth at a distance of 350 kilometers. The gravity pull there is almost as strong as on the planet's surface. But the thing is, the ISS is already continuously falling. If you fire a cannon on Earth, the air resistance would decelerate the cannonball until the gravity pull would make it fall. But 350 kilometers up, there's no air anymore, meaning there's no air resistance either. If a shot is made there, the velocity of the cannonball would stay constant. The cannonball would fall dozens or even hundreds of times longer, meaning it would fly further. If the shot is powerful enough, the projectile would continue spinning around our planet. In astronautics, it's called ascent to orbit. And the velocity which allows the object that moves horizontally over the planet's surface to move along the circular orbit instead of falling is called the first cosmic velocity. It equals to 7.9 kilometers per second. Both the astronauts and the space station are continuously falling. But the vector of this movement is smoothing out and they miss the Earth, so to speak. So they are spinning around it and they want to fall, but they fly past it and start falling again and miss it again. It turns out that the processes that takes place aboard the ISS are the same as in a practice airplane. If the station itself is constantly falling because of the gravity pull, it's impossible to fall inside of it. From the reports of astronauts, we know that our body needs a lot of time and effort to adapt to this phenomenon. It's difficult to deal with the absence of falling, not with the falling. Essentially, high speed and falling make for stable conditions. It's the abruptness of the stop that is often fatal. Even the word fall has negative connotations. It's associated with pain and destruction. But in reality, nothing happens to the body during the fall. Harm is caused by landing or by the force of inertia, to be more precise. The same thing happens during a car crash or any other abrupt stop. And if we look at the process of falling from a different perspective, it turns out that it's not falling at all. From the point of view of gravitational theory, all bodies in our universe attract each other. And this is the case where size does matter. The theory of gravity says that when a feather is flying towards the Earth is also flying towards the feather. But the planet's movement is so insignificant that we simply dismiss it. It would be ridiculous to account for these quantities and would only create confusion. So when a person trips somehow and goes down spread-eagled, it's not only him falling onto Earth, the Earth falls onto him too. But this is the theory. In practice, professional stuntmen prefer to use the word jump for a process of falling or closing in on Earth from a distance of 18 meters. This way is more comforting. The key is to get a grip on your natural self-preservation instinct. The self-preservation instinct wouldn't even let you go behind these railings. But your safety depends on you overpowering it. This point is very important for stuntmen. Doing everything right is not just important, it's vital. The trajectory has to be perfect with the landing taking place right in the center of the airbag. If you look at it, there's a special structure in the center of the airbag that gives it rigidity. The rigidity is weaker at the edges, and the airbag can sag in those areas. That's why it's better to fall close to the center. I have another psychological mechanism. When they tell me to jump, when they tell me ready, go, I feel like a small cog in a big machine. I have to do my job without a hitch like a Kalashnikov. Ready? Go! Alive. Arms and legs intact. Everything's okay. I didn't let my colleagues down. My eyes are glowing. I want more. But no, that's enough. It's important here to know when to stop. And these jitters that you feel before the jump, of course they make you do that again and again. Most likely, there's a purely physiological reason behind it. Probably all those hormones, mostly adrenaline, that are produced in your body when you jump. It's a proven fact that during free fall, human body produces endorphins, the hormones of joy. Artificially created chemicals with a similar effect, morphine and heroin, are the world's heaviest drugs. It means that falling is addictive. I know people who compared it to the highest point of exhilaration. And there are cases where parachuting is included into rehab programs for drug addicts. So one thing is really pushing the other out. Falling can indeed change lives for the better. Lydia Ardasyanova has been proving this postulate for 20 years. Her team of skydivers is the most unusual in Russia.
Birds of a feather flock together. They're physically challenged. Some are missing an arm, some are missing a leg. And I understand them like no one else does. Because I went through this moment when I was paralyzed and skydiving was over for me. I have 2 deaf mutes in my team. I covered a notebook this thick with writing just to teach them. There's also a girl on my team who's missing one eye. It's so difficult for her because she has monovision, not 3D, like everybody else does. And sometimes they really struggle, especially those who are missing a leg from the thigh down. But when they need to walk somewhere, they just bite the bullet and walk.
There are 20 people in the team. They hold 3 records in formation skydiving in Russia. Every weekend, these skydivers come here to the Slobodka airfield and learn how to be in control of falling. It turns out to be the best antidepressants.
I guess I would say it's adrenaline that just fills you up, and you rethink so many things right in that very moment.
Every time after sending her students off to fly, Lydia stays behind on the ground. The consequence of the fall that has started this story still pose some limitations, but at the same time, they create other, stronger emotions.
I'm so worried about each and every one of them, but nevertheless, when they land, there's so much joy in their eyes. They're just filled with these overwhelming emotions. They hug, they kiss. They don't even realize just how loud they're screaming. It's happiness. I lived through that.